Hey guys, in this video we're talking about how to apply a ceramic coating to this Sequoia without doing any paint correction whatsoever and accomplishing it in less than 5 hours. And I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but stick around here to the end and you'll get the full context of exactly how this happened, why, and how you can maximize profitability by being a bit of an opportunist in the detailing world and seeing opportunity as it comes to you. Now, as we start this video, I just want to remind everybody that if you are beginning in the auto detailing business and you're looking to find the best tools and products in the industry so that you don't have to waste your money on tools and products that don't work, and you want to know how to start your detailing business for under $500, then go below in the YouTube description box and grab the free guide that I've put together. It's a 13-page document that shows you exactly how to start your detailing business for under $500. Now, that being said, what the heck am I doing in this video? Well, let me set up the context for you really quickly before we get into the business side and the physical detailing side of what I'm doing here. This particular vehicle has been on a maintenance plan for me for several years. It's a Sequoia that you may have seen in the past in other videos. But basically what happened here is this particular customer wanted to get a full repaint on the entire exterior of the Sequoia because this particular, I believe it was 2001 Sequoia, was made with single stage paint, so it's not necessarily painted and clear coated in the same exact way that more modern vehicles are done today. And because this vehicle has like 250,000 miles on it and my customer absolutely loves it and considers it the car that he really wants to take to his deathbed because it's just so reliable, he's basically explained that when something does go wrong, he's just going to get a full engine replacement anyways because he loves the car, he loves the body style, and he really doesn't want to sink $65,000 to $75,000 in for a new Sequoia or a new Tahoe or some new big SUV because he wants to have and keep this bigger vehicle. So because of that, when something goes wrong, he's going to do a full engine replacement. He's going to keep the car as it is. And so he decided to go ahead and get a full repaint and get the entire car clear coated properly as they're done today. And of course, he wanted a ceramic coating done after all of that was finished. Well, you can see why this is absolutely an incredible opportunity for a detailer like myself, because for obvious reasons that I probably don't need to go into at a very high level, because the car was literally just a day or two ago completely repainted and completely re-clear coated, it would be absolutely foolish for me to polish the vehicle before I lay down the ceramic coating on it. I actually consulted several different detailers in my area as well before we went ahead and took on this job, just to make sure there wasn't any loopholes that I was missing. And we even talked to the body shop guys who did the repaint and the clear coating, and they explained that yes, it's going to make the most sense to just put the ceramic coating on right on top of the job when we get finished, rather than polishing it and removing any sort of, even if it's a minimal layer of the clear coat that was just applied to the car. So this is an amazing opportunity for a guy like myself, simply because I can accomplish this ceramic coating job in virtually no time because the preparation stage has been cut in half. Now, many of you guys might be wondering, are you not going to introduce swirls, scratching, and marring to the paint as you prepare the paint at a minor level? If you have to clay bar it, if you have to put some Iron X on it, all of the things which I do in this video. And here's the truth of the matter. While yes, at a microscopic level, at a micro abrasion level, after I get done claying very lightly, Iron Xing, washing the car using an agitation wash after a foam stage, yes, there might be a micro amount of swirls or scratching that did not exist there before we prepared it and cleaned off the paint, before we put the ceramic coating on. But the point of it is, because this car was just completely redone, I am not going to introduce any imperfections that are going to be able to be seen with the naked eye, first of all. And second of all, the imperfections that are introduced are so micro that you have to ask the question, and this is what I discussed with other detailers. do the micro abrasions that are introduced in the prep stage here outweigh the fact that you would have to remove a very small minimal layer of the clear coat to remove them in the polishing stage before you actually apply the ceramic coating? And because we consider that a negligible thing, I'm not going to be polishing this paint, even though I am prepping it in the traditional wash, iron X, clay bar sort of way, using Optimum paint prep as well. So hopefully that makes sense. And you can comment below if you want to rake me over the coals, because I totally get it. So if you think this is absolutely insane, cheap, and a total hack job, then comment below in the YouTube comments and let me know exactly what you think. Now, as I'm preparing these tires, I want to let you guys into exactly what I'm doing here. Now, while my customer got a full repaint job and the clear coat and the color coat are in literally perfect condition, he did not get new wheels or new tires or anything like that. And these particular wheels have been absolutely eaten up by brake dust that's been sitting on the inner barrel of the wheel for some time now, and it has extended to certain parts of the face of the wheel. So while this is not a strategy I necessarily suggest, particularly for beginners and other guys who don't have some experience doing this, what I'm doing to address some of that brake dust that's corroded into the metal on the face of the wheel is using Mcguire's wheel brightener, diluted a little bit even less than I normally do, more like 4, maybe even 3 to 1. It's a very concentrated form of this acidic wheel cleaner. I'm spraying it all over the face of the wheel, letting it dwell for a moment, and then I'm using my steamer before I take my detailing brush to address the general face of the wheel, and I'm using that PSI and that directed heat to remove some of that brake dust off of the wheel. Now, you might be wondering, can this damage the wheel? Of course it can damage the wheel. Hence why I say if you don't have some practice with this particular method of removing some extreme brake dust, this isn't necessarily something that you want to go for right off the bat. But you can see on the face of the wheel in those corners and on that really area that butts up to the inside, that's where the brake dust is beginning to kind of come out from the interior and eat into the face of the wheel. So what we're doing here is literally not addressing the inner part of the wheel whatsoever, and we're only addressing the face of the wheel with the steamer and the strong, less diluted, more heavily concentrated cleaner here. And while yes, there's an argument to be made that you're going to damage the wheel, you're going to do some, you eat through part of the clear coat of the wheel with the heat, if you know what you're doing, and if you're not standing there letting the heat absolutely melt the wheel to an oblivion, obviously common sense is welcome. You're not going to be hurting anything. So you can see here as I'm moving the steamer back and forth and only holding it in certain places at certain times with a very minimal amount of time, then I'm not going to be damaging anything, and you'll be able to see that throughout this video. The wheels are absolutely not damaged. They look very, very good. Then, of course, I'm just going to address things in the traditional way, taking my detailing brushes, addressing the rest of the face of the wheel, which is very simple because my cleaner is so strong, it knocks off any surface brake dust very easily. And then I'm using my super clean aerosol can degreaser. It's the foaming degreaser. A lot of times I think the foaming degreaser atomizes the cleaner at a bit of a higher level, and because of that, it ends up cleaning sometimes at a bit of a higher level. So I ended up reaching for that cleaner here because I am taking this vehicle again to kind of its maximum protection. Because of that, I want to make sure that every part of this vehicle looks really, really good, and that's why we're addressing this with kind of such aggression. Then we're just going to pressure wash the sidewall of the tire off, as well as the wheel well. After some minor scrubbing with my long-handled brush, I simply agitate the cleaner in the wheel well just a tad, and then I strategically take my pressure washer and wash it off the sidewall, as well as the wheel well. And yes, I am using the Sunjo electric pressure washer. This kind of pressure washer is all I need in my detailing world. I get asked about it all the time. It's a very inexpensive pressure washer. It's $100 on Amazon, circles around that price point, 2200 PSI, maybe 2100 PSI, and doesn't pull a ton of voltage or electricity from any garage or outlet that you're hooking up to, and it's very, very portable, and because of that, it just ends up being a good pressure washer for me. No, this video is not sponsored by anybody or anything like that. It's just the tool that I use, and I want to make you guys aware of this pressure washer because I just think it's a really, really great product. Now, as we move on from the tires, I'm going to be foaming the Sequoia up a lot before we go to the agitation wash because, of course, with the condition that the car is in and the particular context of the situation, I want to make sure that I foam it up really, really well. I am using a product from Renegade's new detailers line. It's their Sudstorm Car Wash product. It can also be used in a foam can, and as you can see, I ran out in my little bottle, so I had to reach for my gallon jug. This particular type of soap is one that I use in the foam cannon as well as in the agitation wash, and that's one of the reasons why I like it so much, just because it's so versatile. So I'm going to go ahead and rinse off the entire car just like I would in any video, foam it up, rinse off the foam, and then I'm going to move to the agitation wash. Now, as I do that, I want to touch on some of the business aspects of this video because I do think it is important. One of the great things about ceramic coatings is that it is a very high income, high dollar amount, high paying job in the detailing world. One of the questions that I'm always asking myself is how I can eliminate some of the time that I'm forced to spend with a ceramic coating. And in many ways, guys hear this the wrong way, and they say when you're trying to minimize time with a ceramic coating, you're cutting corners and you're going to do a hack job, all of that sort of stuff. And while certainly I understand the sentiment and why people would assume something like that, you can see why in a situation like this is in no way cutting corners or a hack job or anything like that. What it is using some creative thinking, some imaginative thinking, and being in the right place at the right time with the right customer who literally just got a completely new paint job done on his car and therefore has no need for a paint correction. It's in a situation like this where you can create an unbelievable win-win with your client simply because I'm not going to have to charge my client quite as much as I normally would for a ceramic coating on this size vehicle, which would be a minimum of $1,800, generally speaking. That is what I charge to apply a ceramic coating on the exterior of a vehicle of this size, including all of the paint correction. It generally takes about a weekend to get a job like this done. A job like this would not be a one-day job. It would definitely be a Friday or Saturday or even Saturday and Sunday job at minimum. And because of that, I'm able to bring down the price just a little bit, not because I'm advocating bringing down the price when you don't necessarily have to put in as much work, but simply because the brunt of the work with a ceramic coating is obviously done with the paint correction and the polishing stage. And because that stage is being completely eliminated in this scenario, I think it only makes sense to create a win-win for the customer where they're going to be easily sold on the ceramic coating that they already want because you can bring down that price just a little bit. And in this case, just full disclosure, I can bring down the price of this particular job to $1,000 even. So you can see why this becomes such a great win-win, being that the car is already on a maintenance client schedule, which means that the ceramic coating is going to be properly maintained from here. And because the customer already wants the ceramic coating and was planning on getting it as soon as the paint job was done, there's very little advertising, very little selling. In fact, you could just say zero selling done because the customer is already sold. And because of that price point coming down just a tad, you're not only maximizing your hourly rate in that, making, relatively speaking, about $200 an hour in this particular case, because this was about a 5-hour job, but it's also bringing down the effort, the energy, and what you have to put in order to accomplish this job. And this is the long-term thinking that I think is so vital to talk about in the auto detailing industry, because so often we're always talking about the stuff that we can do as far as how we can charge for our time. But there has to be a conversation around how to begin charging money based on value propositions and value-driven models rather than simply monetizing the hours that you can put in. Now, as I go around the rest of this vehicle, I'm going to come back in just a little later, but for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the car washing stage. Now, after I finished the agitation wash stage, which, by the way, if you're wondering exactly what process I used here, yes, I used the same exact logic as the 2-bucket method, but I only filled 1 bucket up with my grit guard full of clean water, and I used my foam cannon as the soap application. So each time I apply soap to the paint, it's a completely new layer, never touched layer of soap. And then when I get done with my mitt on any specific panel, I can rinse it in my clean bucket solution with my grit guard. And that's how I like to go about it before ceramic coating, because I think it's even more effective than the traditional 2-bucket method. Now I'm using Renegade's iron remover. It's their Voodoo iron remover all over the paint, the glass, the wheels as well, and basically every part of the paint you could possibly think of. I like to let this iron remover dwell for about 3 to 4 minutes, and then I take my hose without the pressure washer attached, and I just let the pressure from the hose very lightly kind of move the product around, if that makes sense. I'll spray the hose all over the paint, not rinsing the paint yet and rinsing all of the product off, but as you can see right here in this part of the video, I'm just kind of whipping the hose around and spraying the water sporadically so that the product will move around with the water. You can see kind of it suds up on the paint when you're in person a little bit. And then I'll let that sit for another 3 to 4 minutes. The reason why I like rinsing the iron remover with my hose without the pressure washer attached is just because the pressure washer introduces so much air into the water, and that's how, of course, it becomes that kind of strong PSI, which is great in a lot of situations. But when I'm trying to rinse something or a chemical off the paint at a really high level, I want to make sure that I can more or less flood the paint with water, and this is just the easiest way to do it with my just $3 garden spray nozzle on the end of the hose. That's what makes the most sense for me as I'm doing this. Now, what I'm going to do with the rest of the car after I finish rinsing off all of the iron remover is simply taking my clay bar. It's a very light, very non-abrasive, very, very, very fine grade clay bar, and I'm going to very lightly go around all of the paint and clay all of the major areas, including the windows. And I'm going to be very, very careful in this stage. I know this is going to bother guys because they're saying you're abrading the paint, and then you're applying the ceramic coating without polishing it. And without polishing it, the ceramic coating is not going to properly bond to the exterior of the paint because the paint has not been prepared properly. And so the chemical makeup of the ceramic coating no longer has the ability to bond the way it's supposed to with its SiO2 technology. And I understand all of those objections. However, once again, after consulting different detailers as well as the body shop and talking about even the nature of ceramic coatings, I can promise you this is a completely viable way to put a ceramic coating on the exterior of a vehicle that has just been painted and re-clear coated as well. That being said, guys, go ahead, again, sit back, relax, enjoy the clay barring, and we're going to come back in before we use the Optimum paint prep to prepare the exterior of this vehicle. Now, as we get into the next stage of this detailing process, as I'm finishing up claying the roof of the car here, you're going to see that I'm going to deal with the tires. I'm applying Stoner's Tire Shine, their More Shine Tire Shine, to these particular tires. And you might be wondering why I'm using that particular product and why I'm doing it in this order. So let me answer those questions really quickly. The reason why I'm using that particular product is because, number one, it's a product I've used for years. It's absolutely unbelievable and I love it. But secondly, it's a product that works very well on this particular type of tire. The reason I know that, once again, is because this is a maintenance client of mine, and I've dealt with these tires dozens and dozens of times. And what you'll notice in the detailing world, if you're a professional detailer and you see vehicles on a daily basis, is that there are certain tire shines that work best with certain types of tires and certain rubbers and certain ages of tires. Older tires can be difficult to deal with, and newer tires can be simpler with certain products. And so you'll realize that there's not a one-size-fits-all in this area. And because of that, while yes, I like to use a gel dressing when I'm dealing with a ceramic coating and really make sure that that dressing has time to bond in that sort of liquid gel sort of way, these are bigger tires because it's a bigger vehicle and because I'm applying it at this particular stage in the detailing process. By the time I'm done, this tire shine will have had plenty of time to bond to the sidewalls of the tires, so I'm just not worried about it. Now, before we go in for the ceramic coating and talk about which ceramic coating we're going to use in this video, I am preparing the paint with Optimum Paint Prep. This paint prep is the best one, in my opinion, to use. I use it every single time. And I'm also using some edgeless, just multi-purpose microfiber towels from the Rag Company. And I'm going to hook up all of these tools and products in the YouTube description box below if you're interested in getting your hands on them. But when I'm using Optimum Paint Prep, I always use a completely new, right out of the bag microfiber towel. And this is why I keep these Rag Company edgeless multi-purpose towels with me, because they're absolutely amazing towels to use for when you're in a situation when you have to have something totally new. I want a virgin microfiber towel that's never been touched, that has no chance of abrading the paint or anything like that whatsoever. So I'm using Optimum Paint Prep. I'm spraying it on each panel, and then I'm just working it in with my towel, taking my time, being patient, buffing it off with the dry side. This is going to ensure that there's no oils left on the paint, no residues, nothing like that, from the washing process to the Iron X to the clay bar to everything. So this is going to make sure that my paint is more or less totally naked and ready to receive the ceramic coating. Now, I'm going to be using G-Technics Crystal Serum Light Ceramic Coating. In this, it comes with 2 gloves. It comes with a little pipette that you can suck up the solution with, a little tiny applicator, as well as directions, and of course, the bottle of the ceramic coating itself. Now, I am going to be using my, once again, Rag Company edgeless microfiber towel, a totally new one for the initial buffing stage, for the stage 1 of pulling the ceramic coating off the paint. And then I'm going to be using a plush microfiber towel, very soft, completely new, for the second stage of buffing it off the paint and bringing out that high gloss shine. Now, you'll notice that I used 3 full droplets of the pipette. I fill it completely full, and I apply 3 lines across the microfiber applicator. The G-Technic Crystal Serum Light product that you're seeing applied right here does require you to use a little bit more of the product than other ceramic coatings. Totally fine, but as you continue around the vehicle, ensure that at times you use a little bit less and less of the product, because it can be finicky and difficult to deal with if you continue using the same exact amount of the initial application, simply because your product applicator is becoming more and more saturated with the ceramic coating as you continue around the paint. And so you're just going to require less and less product being applied to the paint when you're going around, for obvious reasons. Like I said, I'm using my multi-purpose edgeless microfiber towel to buff off in that stage 1 phase, and then I'm using that plush towel to buff off in the stage 2. And you can see I'm moving relatively quickly. Of course, I'm speeding up the video just a tad, but moving relatively quickly around the paint. The great thing about this particular ceramic coating is that it is extremely easy to work with, and probably one of the best user-friendly and and best beginner ceramic coatings to use. Very, very what you might call retail grade. Of course, like always, and without boring you guys, of course, you're going to apply it in a cross-hatch pattern. But when you're buffing off the ceramic coating, I do like to move sort of inside to outside. So if I apply a sort of 2x2 square of the coating, I'll kind of move around the borders of that square outside to inside with my stage 1 buffing off with my edgeless towel, and then my stage 2 I'll do the same thing as I use my plush microfiber towel. So you guys can see under my garage lights, it's a bit difficult. The camera makes it difficult to get a full picture of exactly what things look like. Of course, in person, everything's going to look better and clearer, but the ceramic coating is going on just fine. Now this again is the ceramic coating I would suggest if you are a complete beginner and you've never used one before, but I will say this is a ceramic coating that is fairly difficult to get high spots with. If you don't know what high spots are, I'm not going to take the time to explain it right this second, but basically my point is, even if you have no idea what you're doing with the ceramic coating whatsoever, and you do make a mistake with this particular ceramic coating, it is relatively easy to correct, and it shouldn't be something that you freak out about. Now, let's go back to the business talk really quickly here, just to make things really clear and explain what's going to happen. While yes, I am applying the ceramic coating to all of the major parts of the car here, there are specific parts of the car that are going to require other things to be done. For example, the black trim needs to be addressed. The rubber black trim around the windows needs to be addressed because the people at the body shop did not address these areas. So while the black trim needs to be restored and protected at a certain level, and the gasketing around the windows, including the windshield, needs to be addressed as well, that cannot be done today simply because I don't want to risk anything touching the ceramic coating as far as chemical or liquids are concerned. So what we are going to do is keep this vehicle garaged for 48 hours, actually, 48 hours completely. And then I'm going to come in later and address the black trim and the other areas after the ceramic coating has had time to cure. So while yes, this is a one-day job as far as the ceramic coating application is concerned, there are a couple other things that are going to take very minimal amounts of time for me to return just a little bit later. The other win-win that's happening here is not only creating a $200 an hour effective hourly rate with a job like this, but you are also creating what I would call in the detailing business easier future money to deposit in your future bank account. What I mean by this is simple. With maintenance clients, I make protection my top priority rather than simple cleaning, simply because maintenance clients require very little cleaning in the first place, and protection is where you're going to see your time decrease exponentially, meaning as you require more and more protection around the vehicle, each time you see the vehicle, you end up spending less and less time on it. So in this particular contextualized situation, this ceramic coating is going to make the exterior of the vehicle in the future even easier to deal with than it was later, which means less time, less energy, and less thought and product I'm having to put into the exterior details. But it does not decrease the price of the maintenance job that I'm going to do in the future, which allows me to increase my effective hourly rate, as it were, and deposit more and more money into my future bank account. I think this is really the proper way to contextualize this type of thing in the auto detailing business. While yes, of course, I want an ever-increasing flow of new customers, more than anything, like I talk about on the channel, I want an ever-increasing list of maintenance clients simply because I can begin to compound my income in that way and exponentially decrease the amount of time, effort, energy, product, and increase the margin that I'm creating in my own business long term. So while yes, this ceramic coating pays high dividends in an immediate sense, it will also pay dividends long-term in the future into what I would call my future bank account. And this is what we need to be thinking about and conceptualizing in the detailing world. Now, as I say that, I'm going to go ahead and cut out one more time and let you guys enjoy and relax, see the rest of this detail as I go around and apply the ceramic coating to take any pointers that you may need as far as watching the application happen. And believe it or not, we are actually going to be applying something on top of this ceramic coating in just a second. Now, when it comes to this particular ceramic coating, the G-Technic Crystal Serum Light, it does come packaged with another product called EXO, which is basically a topper product. You can think of it more or less as, this is a bit oversimplified, but you really can think of it as an additional ceramic coating that you can apply on top of the G-Technic Crystal Serum Light for added protection. And in many cases, ceramic coatings, no matter which ones they are going to ask for 2 applications rather than just 1. Now, so as to not bore you, I'll just give you the top pointers that you need to understand about this product. You might be thinking, well, shouldn't the G-Technic Crystal Serum Light have some time to cure before you apply something on top of it? And yes, that is true. The directions actually tell you online specifically that you want the G-Technic Crystal Serum Light to cure for at least 1 hour before you apply the XO on top of it. And because it takes, about an hour to apply the first product in the first place, if you simply go back around the car in the same exact sequence that you did the first time, each time you get to the new panel, it will have cured for at least an hour. That's kind of the strategy that I use here. This product XO is going to be applied in pretty much exactly the same way as the Crystal Serum Light product is applied. So you can apply the same directions for the first product to the second product. And this product is not only going to add unbelievable amounts of protection in addition to the first product, but it's also going to add unbelievable amounts of shine as well. Now, it's important to understand that I do use a completely new microfiber towel as my stage 1 buffing off towel, and I also use a completely new stage 2 buffing off towel, getting that high gloss shine. Of course, this is the same kind of context for the towels. The first one is going to be my edgeless, multi-purpose, easy kind of polish ceramic coating removal towel, and my second one is going to be extremely plush. It's going to have a higher GSM, very, very soft, and I'm going to throw these towels away after I'm done. Simply because, of course, ceramic coatings are basically liquid glass, and when they harden, they are physical glass. And so any product that is on the towel is going to inevitably scratch the paint if I were to ever use it again. So, of course, throwing these towels away is just the best course of action. Now, that being said, the XO is going to add a ton to this detail. And while it does not necessarily have to cure for 48, maybe even 72 hours, 2 to 3 days, 24 hours in my experience in many ways can be plenty of time for these particular products. I like to be overestimating in a little bit and just go ahead and say, hey, let the product cure for at least 48 hours. Keep it in a garage. Don't drive it. Just let it sit there. Then the product will have plenty of time to cure. You can drive it in the rain. You can drive it in the sun. And of course, I can come back and address the black trim and wash the car, dry the car, apply a simple spray wax or sealant protection to the car. The curing process will have been completely finished. Now, guys, this is the type of customer that I talk about targeting in the detailing business for reasons that you can probably understand simply because of the things we've already talked about in this video. But one of the things I want to emphasize here is your future bank account. One of the biggest mistakes I think that's made in the detailing world by professional detailers is that they treat customers as disposable. It's a sort of one and done mentality. So the only way to make more money is to go get more customers. The problem with that is simple. Unless you have people on a regular basis getting a detail, then you are constantly having to spend money, time, and energy advertising and selling new people when in reality, if you were building a list of maintenance clients like this particular Sequoia, not only would you not be having to sell to new customers all the time and making literal, regular, recurring amounts of revenue every single month that you can continue to build on and compound your income, but it is also extremely easy to sell services that are very high paying and very high dollar, like the ceramic coating service that you see here, to these clients. A business just 101 rule is very simply this. It is always easier and less expensive to do more business with customers that are already doing business with you or have already done business with you than trying to go find a new customer. And for whatever reason, we rarely apply this logic to the auto detailing service industry, and I think that is a mistake. I did not have to sell my customer on this service, and I did not have to drop my price in order to get him in the door. I simply dropped my price because it was the right and fair thing to do in this particular situation because of the context of the situation that I've already explained. But my customer would have basically paid any price, and it required no selling to get a high dollar, $200 an hour paying job. And while some people watch videos like this and probably get a little cynical and skeptical and think, oh, well, this isn't even real in the first place, like somehow this is all made up and you're not even actually detailing a car. What I would encourage you guys to do, rather than getting cynical and skeptical, is simply taking inventory of where you stand in your detailing business right now and what the main weak points are. What I found more often than not is that one of the main weak points in auto detailing businesses is simply a lack of customers. And while there are basically two ways to go around fixing this problem. Number one, get more customers, or number two, continue to get repeat business from customers you already have, and you will begin to see this margin lower where you no longer have to worry about getting new customers. Unfortunately, for most detailers, their weeks look very sporadic, and sometimes they go entire weeks without having any details. Whereas if you spent your time focusing on maintenance clients, getting regular customers, and repeat business, you would no longer have to wake up anxious about your weekly schedule in your detailing business. Simply because before the month even starts, most of your details are already scheduled. And that is how I went at 18 years old, which was some years ago now, but at 18 years old, skyrocketed my auto detailing business to basically doing 6 to 10x what I was doing at the time. Now, just as a quick little shameless plug, I have been working on a serious online auto detailing course that is very, very close to being released. So I will give you guys more details on that as we get closer. We're talking about weeks instead of months away. So make sure that you're on the Wilson Auto Detailing email list if you want to get notified about the online course and how that will be available, which is basically going to take you not only teaching all things detailing, but also how to wrap a viable business model and system around this auto detailing business that will make you money, because there is nothing more that will suck your passion for detailing away than not making money in your business. Now, guys, go ahead, sit back, relax, enjoy the rest of this video, and I will come back in at the end just to conclude. All right, guys, we are nearing the end, and like I said, if you're wondering about the area, particularly the upper area of the car, the roof that did not get touched in this video with the ceramic coating, the reason for that is simply because the texture and the material on the roof is not exactly your traditional clear coat, and it is not able to have a ceramic coating applied and cured to it. So after this ceramic coating gets applied and cures, like I said, I'm coming in 48 hours later to this vehicle and going to apply the black trim restoration as well as the protection in the areas that could not have a ceramic coating cured to it. Now, guys, make sure you go below and grab that free guide to starting your auto detailing business, all for under $500, so that you can avoid the learning curve and shorten your learning curve and just get the products and tools that work right off the bat instead of wasting time and money like I had to do the past decade of growing my detailing business. Go below and grab that guide. Guys, as always, the products and the tools that I used in this video, from the ceramic coating to all of the prep materials to all of the towels to everything you could possibly think of, will be hooked up below in a very organized way with Amazon links and all of that sort of stuff. So if you're interested in getting your hands on those products, go below, check those out. Guys, as always, if you're new to the Wilson Auto Detailing channel, but you love information just like this about the business and the products, then smash the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so that you get notified when I publish future videos, so you can keep filling your head with auto detailing knowledge, and not just product and tool knowledge, but actual detailing business knowledge, so you can start creating profitability and actually loving what you do. Guys, thank you so much for watching. And as always, from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, keep working hard, and I will see you in the next video.